Welcome to Small Town Grit. I'm Jim Kramer, and this is normally the chair that Corey Haubs sits in. Now, wait a minute. Cut. Look at him. He already looks nervous.
He does. He's holding your breath.
Yeah, he was holding his breath.
I was like, oh, man.
Now, is it Haubs or Stricker?
You know what? I've gone by both my whole life.
Yeah. Okay.
It actually goes back to high school.
Okay.
Everybody called me Haubs.
Okay.
And then
so it's kind of like a nickname.
Okay.
Okay.
But then as I got through high school, and then I was like, all right, well, I'll start using my full name, Stricker. And then the parents are like, who's Stricker? We only know this Haubs guy, you know?
Welcome back to Small Town Grit. I'm Jim Kramer in Corey's chair because Corey is in the hot seat this week. Welcome to the show. Welcome to your show.
I'm nervous to be on my show today.
Well, we were talking about that before we sat down. Jess says, does it feel weird to sit over there? And you said, yeah, this is kind of like interviewing Johnny Carson, making him sit in that seat over there.
The hot seat.
The hot seat. Well, you know, first off, congratulations on the success of Small Town Grit. A lot of folks are watching it. A lot of people want to be on it. As I understand, we have a 105-year-old guy. No, a business of 105 years in Bay City that wants to get on. And so that's a tribute to what this has done so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I'm excited. You know, I've always had the entrepreneur spirit, and I was like, how else can we have people tell their story? They don't get a chance because they're in the day-to-day grind. I'm like, maybe they get the little chance and have an outlet about their success and failures and what they bring to the community.
Mm-hmm. The Small Town Grit is just that.
Right. It is.
Well, you talk about, entrepreneurship. I mean, let's look at yours. When did it all start? In other words, when was the first time you did something and you said, you know what, this is good. I could make a living doing this.
I don't know about a living at that point, but I took my first lawn account at 14. Did a neighbor's lawn, and that kind of triggered me. And not really entrepreneur spirit, but just the confidence that I could do something on my own and kind of own it and take pride in it. And we interviewed a small, young 14-year-old out of Reese that has a small little business, has 5 lawns, and that's his passion.
That's cool.
At 14 years old.
That's cool.
And that excites me because that was me at 14 years old. I didn't think about taking on more accounts. You know, I was in athletics and school, and so just the one lawn was enough for me at the time. And then my grandfather had a small little ceiling cleaning business, which my uncle still runs today. And once I got my license, I said, well, maybe I could sell some jobs for that. And because we always worked for him. And I was just like, and I didn't have a problem going to McDonald's and going in to see corporate managers and say, hey, can I bid your project for that ceiling cleaning? So
how much did you make for that first lawn?
Man, I made $15.
That's pretty good.
And a glass bottle of Coke. Yeah, but I had to either drink the Coke there or bring the bottle back.
Really?
Yeah, that was the stipulation.
They must have collected the bottles.
No, it was the 10 cents.
It was the 10 cents?
It was.
Oh,
yeah.
Good, great. So $15 your first lawn, and then Timber Oaks was your first business, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, technically, no.
Okay.
I actually had a design business. Both my wife and I worked at Weber Lumber when it was in Richville at the time, and that got sold out and merged. And we both lost our jobs at the time, and I was like, well, I was doing blueprints and design there, so I was like, I'll do that for a while. So I did that for a couple of years until our son came, and I was like, my wife, she wanted to stay home for a little while, and I was like, well, what can I do to kind of supplement that income a little bit? So I had another classmate that went to Michigan State and had a horticultural background, so we kind of partnered up and started a landscape business, which is Timber Oaks today. So we mowed lawns, did some landscaping, and my wife was able to stay home with our youngest for a few years.
Speaking of your wife, when you see Lisa tonight, give her a big hug, because I sent her a message. I said, Lisa, interviewing Corey today, you got any dirt? She refused.
Oh, did she?
She said, I got nothing I can think of off the top of my head. And I wrote back, seriously? So
we've been trying to get her on the show. She's just, it's a different, we're just two different people, which is fine.
Sure.
I think that's why, opposites attract somewhat. But the entrepreneur spirit is not cut in her at all. She has no desire.
Yeah, it's fine.
but she supports me 100%.
To a degree, opposites attract in that way.
Yeah,
right.
100%.
Okay, so Timber Oaks and then IRD Homes. Okay, how long between those two companies?
2 years. 2005,
Wow.
2005 started IRD. Got my first like true job through Carter Lumber. I did a subcontractor work for the fire training facility in the Carroll Fairgrounds. They have that big tower there. So that was my first like official, like I had to get a business account to cash the check kind of situation. And then I never looked back. So
IRD stands for?
Interior Residential Designers.
Okay, and you said you did some designing and blueprint work and things of this nature. Do you offer that as a complete package with IRD Homes?
Yes, we do. Yeah, sometimes it's kind of overwhelming because we look at so many projects and all of them need a little bit of design. So it's we try and accommodate everybody's need because essentially most people don't know what they want. So you have to kind of create the design and the dream and then put some numbers to it. And then if everything works out, we execute that and build that for them.
Okay, so the home and the design and small town grit, you're bucking for a spot on HGTV, aren't you?
I don't know if they can handle me.
Now, why do you say that?
Oh man, they would have to have 2 shifts of film crew. You know, from the time I get out to the time I go to bed. Even this weekend, I was in the office until 10, 11 o'clock every night, just trying to get caught up. And it's typically for me in the evenings or on the weekends. That's the only time I get some quiet time, or I'm not putting fires out, so I can really concentrate on design or pricing. Or
Let's go back and look at the two businesses again, because I think they're both intriguing: landscaping and design and home improvement or home building. What's your favorite landscaping project you ever did? Or the most outlandish.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah, we did some outdoor. The outdoor living spaces are always beautiful. We do collaboration between our construction and our landscaping division. When you get those outdoor fireplaces, we submitted in for awards, and those are all nice, and it's just reaffirm what you're doing. But at the end of the day, it's the most rewarding to me is every client has a specific need, and it's just how do we execute that and fulfill that need for them, and that's almost a little bit more rewarding than building an Eiffel Tower or something. I mean, it's just those are all nice, but it's rewarding when we fulfill that need for those clients.
Outdoor kitchens. How many of those have you done?
We've done little ones, like little inset for the grills and a refrigerator, but nothing crazy, nothing like. We did one. When they did partial, we did the countertops for a client, but that was a beautiful kitchen. It was a big L shape with pergola over top. It's endless if on the checkbook if you got the checkbook,
yeah, something like that is not cheap.
Yeah, and some of that, at a certain point when you get that extravagant, it's not always a return in your investment. So it's that fine line of, do you want to just do it for you? Is it you're doing this for a reinvestment of a sale down the road? Those are all plays factor into on the scope of the job. When
you're looking at, you talk about IRD Homes and the design of the home. If you built them from ground up, I would assume.
Yes, yeah.
But what's more challenging, building them from ground up or going into a house that's existing, and the client wants the outdoors done, and then of course they want the inside done. So what's more challenging, doing the outside or the inside?
I think the renovations on the existing homes, especially the little farmhouses, you just never know what you're going to get.
Right. Open that wall.
Yeah, and it's and that's one job I'll tell you that you always have to have a little slush fund because there's just so many unknowns. We did a job last year and we got into it. It was old turn of the century log timber frame house, and the whole thing was bad. We ended up having to tear the whole floor structure out.
Oh no!
The one wall was 3 inches out of plumb, and we called the homeowner, and we're standing in her crawl space because there's no floor there because it was just
took it out.
Yeah, it had to go, and you have those hard conversations about like how far do you want to keep going in this, and it's a fine line because, I always look at return investment. That's the biggest thing when I talk to our clients is like, what's your return investment here? Is this good return for your dollar? Or is it just going to be a break even? Or are you going to be upside down in this? And which is a lot of situations where you might have to look at something else. So.
Yeah, that's kind of scary. I mean, when you start digging into the floors and the walls, you never know what you're going to see.
Yeah. I mean, it was. I mean, we could have made a swimming pool at that point. It was.
Yeah.
It was.
That's a good one. Swimming pool. What's the oddest thing you've ever found inside of a wall?
I found when I renovated my house, I found a pistol in my house.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Little square barrel, little pistol. Yeah, we checked out and it was like maybe it's worth something, but it wasn't.
Yeah, don't you hate that? You find something, you think you got something, and it's nothing.
So I was like, well, maybe the kids will play with it. I'm like, well, maybe that's not a good idea. I just think they should run around with a real pistol. But.
Now, if Lisa were sitting here, what would Lisa say is your best quality? And by the way, there's a follow-up question to this. So brag on yourself while you can.
I've never been asked that before, Jim.
I know. That's why I asked it.
I feel like you got to repeat the question.
If Lisa were sitting here, what would she say is your best quality?
I don't even know what to say to that. Huh? I might be blushing.
Brag on yourself a little bit. Is it you're a great stepdad? Well, I gave you an answer, but don't use it.
I really don't. What to
maybe
say?
The follow-up question, Corey, will be easier.
Yeah, let's do that.
What's your worst habit?
Over-promising. 100%.
It's not what I was looking for, but okay. What do you mean by over-promising? Over-promising to her or over-promising to clients? What is it?
Typically clients.
Typically clients.
Yeah, and we should be interviewing her because if it wasn't for her, I mean, she's put up a lot with us having businesses and us canceling vacations because we had to cover shifts, and it's just we don't, and that's why we're not huge vacation. We'll go, but it's kind of on a whim, or it might be a 3 or 4 day long weekend because we kind of know we were going to go, but we weren't committed, and it's, but yeah, over committing. Just in general, saying that, well, I'm going to be there, I'm going to do that. Or I get lost. I mean, I give 50 phone calls a day and between phone calls and texts, and I don't answer them all or don't get back to everybody or say, I'll get with you tomorrow. And it's just, it's dinner time and family time and bedtime and the days are gone.
Lisa, I tried. I really, really did. I really tried. You did a lot of coaching of youth sports. What sports did you coach, and which was your favorite?
Primarily baseball and softball was what I coached. I just enjoyed it, man. It's just there's a lot of strategy to baseball. I mean, it's more than just hitting the ball and getting around. Especially you're playing for that one run.
Yeah.
I mean, that one run, it could be the game, 1-0. It could be that small of a game. So it's very strategic in my mind, and it's just rewarding when you can get the most out of every single player. And what more can you ask for?
You ever run into a former little leaguer and they say, "Hey, coach"?
No, I haven't too much, really? Because my last coaching years were right at COVID, and then my youngest son decided to do homeschooling for his high school, rest of his high school there. So I really haven't interacted with a lot of the kids or seen a lot of them kind of periodically, but I'm sure they are all rewarding. At least I hope so.
Well, I'm sure that. I'm sure it was. Now, softball would have been girls, right?
I did girls and boys. I coached JV girls. I coached right after I graduated high school. I coached with I did a little basketball too. That's an interesting story, but
basketball's tough to coach.
Basketball is tough to coach. Very tough. I coached a church league basketball team, and it's interesting because that church league team probably half the team could have started on a varsity basketball team, but sometimes it's just meant to be that you didn't line up with, and sometimes it's personalities, right? So maybe that kid that played church league just didn't mesh with the coach at the time, and that happens in all sports all the way
Sure
through.
does.
And that's why I see sometimes school of choice, because you find somebody prominent in football. Well, I don't like Jim, that coach. I'm going to go see Corey, that coach, or and I think school of choice really killed high school sports.
Yeah, I think so. Something's killed it.
Just like NIL, I think it's going to
Right.
slowly kill if it has college.
Yeah. So speaking, I know you like your sports. You played a little sports outside of high school, did you not?
I played some fast pitch softball. I played with the
Fast
boys.
pitch.
Yeah, that was one rewarding thing, that I was able to get on the field with the boys and play a little sports. So a little more than just everyday practice, but actually I'm on third base and Jordan's on shortstop, and we're having a moment there.
Mm-hmm.
So that was pretty rewarding.
Yeah. Now, when you played fast pitch, did you play in leagues?
We used to have a Vassar league here, and then played a little bit in Frankenmuth, and then we always went to the state tournament. So, but with the boys, we always we played fast pitch softball with the boys, and they had a youth program, and we used to travel all over. That was kind of our vacation. We went.
That's fun.
We went to Minnesota, Missouri, wherever the national tournament was that year. That was our kind of our vacation. We just kind of made some destinations along the way.
It's fun stuff. Can we go back to business for a minute?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Well, I just think it's important because, your grit in what you've accomplished with IRD Homes and also with, the landscaping business is important. If the three last people you hired walk through this door right now, what would they say about you as a boss?
Number one, that we talk about family here. I think that's very important. If your child's sick or if you need some time, whatever your situation is, that we're going to accommodate your family life.
Mm-hmm.
There's things that come up. You're going to have a death in the family.
Yep.
Your son or daughter is going to get sick. Somebody's in knee surgery. Whatever that is, we're going to accommodate those needs. And I think we've created a culture here that everybody wants to work together. And you don't really see that other places. It's just more of a punch in and punch out.
Right.
I want to know what's going on in your life. I want to be part of it, because I'm going to see you just probably maybe more than my wife at some point.
Right.
So how can we work together, and how can we meet your needs, and how can I I always talk to one of our employees, and it was kind of a little joke, but it's a pretty serious joke. It's like, what are the tools I can give you today to be successful? And we talk about that in our meetings. And I think it's very important, because I don't want you to go into a job or situation where you don't feel comfortable because I didn't give you the right tools or the right knowledge to be successful. So I think a lot of and we talk about it in our daily meetings, is communication at the end of the day. And that's where everything stems back to, is communication. If we can communicate, what we're doing on a daily basis to your family life, to how we can get through the day, I think that's very important.
I think, the one thing you said, you try to get to know your employees. Mm-hmm. And it's important because, at that point, they don't look at you as a boss. They look at you, I hate to use the term coworker, because you are the superior, but, the term coworker, you're in this together.
Yeah.
As the person in the field and the guy writing the checks.
Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard blend sometimes, because it's like you got to discipline your friend, at some point. And maybe it's not a discipline, it's more of a conversation, and that's where it becomes, it's like, and I think that fortunately with all of our staff, we've been kind of open-minded about everything, and, what's our situation here, and everybody's realistic about themselves. Mm-hmm. So if we do have an issue, it's like we bring it up, it's like, yeah, I acknowledge I do have that issue, as like, well, okay, well, how can we improve it? Or
right.
how can we
So that relationship with the staff is important. What about your relationship with other businesses in the communities that you serve? And you reach beyond Vassar. Mm-hmm. Okay. So those other businesses, I mean, I heard, you talked about when you had, the True Value, in with you. You're talking about the relationship that you have built, there. Mm-hmm. So how important are those relationships in the community?
They're important to me, just as much as our employees, because we have to all work together. They're supplying usually a product that we need, if it's one of our vendors, and it's just good to have a relationship, because a lot of times we don't have to communicate. If I'm ordering a deck package from Vassar Billing Center, they know our sales rep and the manager. They know how we're going to build it, and they're going to fulfill that order and execute it, and it's going to be a streamless process. And it just goes even with our local competitors. And I bring this up because there's other companies that build in our area. There's other companies that landscape in our area. There's other companies that mow lawn in our area. And I talk to every single one of them in town here, and I want them to be successful just like we are. They're employing the same local people as we are, and all I ask is they're doing a superior job for the clients in our area. And what more can you ask for?
Not really, nothing.
I can't do every job.
No, you can't.
No.
It's good to know. So, you're a member of the DDA, Downtown Development Authority, and we talked, when you interviewed me, we talked about Mr. Christmas over here, Vassar's Mr. Christmas, lighting up the town.
My wife calls me the Grinch. Do you know that?
What's that?
My wife calls me the Grinch. She's
Lisa.
like, I don't know how you get so excited about lighting up downtown, but you hate to put any Christmas decorations up at our house.
Really?
Yeah, we had this big discussion this last winter.
No kidding.
Yeah.
You got you don't put lights at your house at all?
I wouldn't even put a tree up if we didn't have kids and a grandkid.
Oh my God.
The things we learn.
Yeah, but I have no problem putting lights up downtown. I'll light that thing up like no other.
That's funny. That's crazy. He is the Grinch.
Yeah.
I was going to call you Wally Bronner II, but I can't do that to Wally.
Don't even put me in that same category. No.
He was the best. He really was. But what types of things? Okay, I know you're not done lighting up downtown because there's a few buildings to go.
Yeah.
But what 10 years down the road? What do you see for the downtown area?
That's a great question. I don't know if we've really projected that. I think we've been finding these little projects that we've been able to identify and solve. We did the mural in the concert series area. So
yeah, that's cool.
So they shut down every other Wednesday or so in the summer and have a concert right downtown. And then we did the light project over top of the concert series, so that whole area is lit up.
Right.
This is going to be close to 5 years that we've been working on the Vets Fountain project. We just tiled that last year, and we're going to have a ceremony this spring coming up, and that's been a 5-year project, and it's all been donated by community business people or monetary donation to fund the 100% of the project. So wow. I think the city, the DDA is giving away very little money to the project. So
it's incredible.
Yeah. I'm not sure what other programs, this isn't really a DDA, but it is a DDA. They're going to put new hockey boards up at the hockey pavilion.
Oh, okay.
I always thought it'd be cool if we can get the junior, what is the Saginaw Spirit, the Spirit, or have them just come and do an exhibition game or something down there. I think that'd be kind of cool. So
that would be cool. I got a couple of connections that way.
Do you?
Yeah. So
I think it'd be just
Craig Goslin, is I think he's the general manager or something of that nature, and Dick Garber. I know that they're committed to the Saginaw and Saginaw County, but shoot, they probably would come out here.
Yeah, just for a little exhibition.
Yeah.
I think our DDA, our downtown's a little different than most. We're not a tourist destination. We're not like a Frankenmuth, like we have shops and retail. We're more of a business district, professional district, I always call it. We have hair salons and lawyers and title companies, that kind of environment with a few restaurants. So it's a little bit different. You're not going there to shop. You're going there because of a purpose.
Right.
So, we have 2 vets in the downtown. We have a groomer, things like that. I mean, it's not
barber. Shoot.
Yeah. So you're not going there to shop. You're going there because you're going there for a purpose or a need. So it's a little bit different there. And the movie theater hubs are downtown. It always has. So have you been to the movies lately?
Not at the theater. I think the last film I saw there was the Travis Mills movie. But I love that little theater because it's a throwback. You think of small theaters like that in small towns like Vassar, And, you're getting the old time experience. You really are.
It's authentic for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you're paying for your popcorn, your pop, and your admission all at the counter. All at the counter. The one thing I miss at theaters, and I don't know if you may not remember this, I'm a tad older than you, but the Capitol Theater and the Palace Theater in downtown Flint, they had the concession stand, but they had vending machines. Okay. And you could get anything you wanted out of a vending machine. And they had to include, the good and plenties and stuff like that. But they always had one that had a question mark on it. Did you ever see those? No, you put your money in there and you pull that, and man, you get what you got. And it was crazy. But no, that theater is a jewel. It truly is.
Oh, yeah, downtown, yeah. I haven't been there in a while, but I'm right next door.
The popcorn is really good.
Yeah, that's one thing that people don't realize. You can actually go there and just pick up a bag of popcorn and take it home.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. We were talking about my neighbor, Dave. One of his foster children held a job there at the concession at the Vassar Theater, and she'd bring home popcorn.
Oh, yeah.
He'd bring me a big old bag. I just sit there watching the Tigers, eating my popcorn.
Yeah, Tiger season, isn't it?
It is.
When's opening day?
Opening day is less than 2 weeks away.
Okay.
On March 28th, I think it is. So, and the last time we were here, we talked about the Tigers, and you asked me what kind of year I thought they were going to have.
Yeah, so they got a few exhibition games under their belt.
They do. And certain players are looking really good, and then there's Javi Baez. God, that guy's horrible. He's going to make $25 million this year.
He's getting paid, though.
He's getting paid. But I read an article today is, how long are they going to give him before they cut him? And they could. They're going to pay him the rest of the money, but they could cut him.
Have you been following this baseball card or sports card trend?
No.
Yeah. Did we talk about it last time?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, my gosh.
I wish I still had my baseball cards. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I had boxes and boxes of box cards, and I was like, at the point, my kids, they're like, we don't want those. We don't know who these people are. Who's Mark McGuire? They don't know this guy. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm like, all right, well, we moved here and we live by the river. And I'm like, well, I had some guys like, I'll trade you for a canoe.
All right.
So I'm like, all right. But he's like, you got to come to Midland. And I'm like, all right. So I went over to Midland and I cried and I literally cried when I give me these boxes. And they're probably worth like $100,000 today because there's probably some hidden gems, some Jordans in there and whatever it might be. Some Ken Griffey junior rookies with autographs, who knows. And so I strapped this canoe on this back of this truck. I don't even know how I got it home. I don't even know where the canoe is at anymore. I let my kids borrow it. It's probably floating down the river.
Where's the canoe?
So like, hey, can we borrow the canoe? And we're going canoe. And I'm like, all right. So then it never came back. I never asked him because I'm like,
right.
I didn't even care at that point. I'm like,
I read a story today that this woman, when she was 7 years old, she remembered her father sold, I can't remember the player, but sold the baseball card that was worth several $100s at the time because his family was struggling. And she knew at 7 years old, she said to herself, one of these days, I'm buying that card back for my dad to thank him for what he did for our family.
yeah.
And this past Christmas, she did.
Did she really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And the guy just lost it, and more probably for the sentiment of what his daughter did than just getting that card back. So there was a lot of stuff we had when we were kids that had we kept them, or even our kids. I mean, I'd love to have the money from the Cabbage Patch Kids that I bought, and probably still had them, probably be worth a buck.
You probably had Beanie Babies, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
You were probably a Beanie Baby girl.
I did the Beanie Baby thing.
I think everybody did.
I didn't have Beanie Babies when I was a kid.
No, yeah.
No, but I bought them. To me, it was the Matchbox cars. You remember those in the Tonka trucks?
I got a friend of mine just on social media that he's big into, he's on the hunt. So he's going to garage sales and trying to find the red line Matchbox car or Hot Wheels car, whatever it was.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, as a builder, okay, when you were a kid, okay, we went back as far as 14 years of age. But prior to that, when you were younger, did you have the Tonka dump trucks and stuff?
We had some dump trucks. I actually remember getting my first, I got this little tool set, and it was actually a real saw, and I think I was probably like 7 or 8 years old. But you should never give kids tools like that without giving them some building blocks or some wood to use that. So
What'd you cut? What'd you cut?
so we had these wooden stairs. Well, so I went down there and I just cut right through the one step there. I didn't
That's
know any better.
classic. That's classic.
I do remember that, and I got yelled at for that. And it wasn't in the middle of the step that it failed. It was on the side there, and I cut the whole thing off, other than a couple inches, and it stayed there the whole time until I renovated Mom's house.
Oh man, that's funny. I got tears on that one. That was so good. It's funny because you do what you do for a living with landscaping and with building and remodeling and things like that. Things I always wanted to do, but never had the talent to do.
Well, you can come join us for a day.
Well,
Jim.
I mean, my lawn's pretty good. I'm proud of my lawn.
Yeah.
Okay. But when it comes to building stuff, ask my wife when you run into her to tell you the story about me trying to change the blade on a circular saw.
I'll have to ask her. When I stop over and look at your fence, I'll ask her.
It could have ended really, really bad. Really bad.
Yeah, I really enjoy the little details on the building part. We got guys from all different aspects, to rough framers, to trim guys, tile guys, and that's one thing I like about our business. It's kind of become the one-stop shop. We can kind of do it all, and it's just, I feel like those little, other than communication, I think those little details kind of separate us from other contractors. So,
but don't let Corey near the stairs.
Never.
That's a great story.
It's so visual too. I mean, it's so visual.
Well, so was trying to change the blade on the circular.
Yeah. Isn't it amazing, those little things?
First off, you know what you don't do? You don't put it between your legs.
Oh my gosh.
Is it plugged in?
No, it was not plugged in. There was blood drawn. Okay, but it came from my hand. But and believe it or not, to this day, she will let me mess with her saws. We have every saw known to mankind. Mm-hmm. Table saw, got it. Scroll saw, got it. Do I use them? Hell no. I'm getting better. Yeah. I'm getting better at them. You know who actually uses my saws better, or not my saws, because I don't have earthly saws more than I do and better than I do. This will scare you. Dan Atkins.
Dan Atkins.
Yeah, and I think that's a good place to stop.
It might be today.
It might be. Oh, good. Corey, this was a lot of fun. Yeah. I enjoyed it. I really did. It was a lot of fun. And next episode, Corey will be back in this seat.
Yeah, I think so.
But we don't know who will be in that seat just yet.
I don't know. Time will tell. Time will tell. Thanks, Jim. I appreciate it.
It was a lot of fun.